welcome back to the Slim and Slam podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 10.
It is indeed episode 10, and you'd think that this is our first recording. However, turns out I can't host worth a shit.
Yeah, we tried to do a backwards little thing. So there's going to be a whole lot of things going on, and we'll go over them over the course of the show. But we tried to do a backwards effect for this show. Slam's going to edit this show, and we thought it'd be cool for him to host it as well, whereas normally I take the lead on the conversation. Let's just say it didn't go awesome.
It was indeed not awesome.
Yeah, let's see. We ended up with a really weird cold open bit where we switched names for a second. I talked about Burger King for about 10 minutes, and that was about it. That was the show. So we're gonna start over. Take two. That was my little board clap. You know, when you go to the cinema and they go, "Hey, take two." That's what that was.
Don't they normally do the board clap at the beginning?
You know, I'm not really here for your technical bullshit right now.
All right.
All right. So let's walk it back to what we talked about quite possibly 30 minutes ago before the show started and start over. So first things first, I ordered Burger King. That's what I had for dinner tonight. I was very disappointed about it. Why, you ask? Let me tell you. So Burger King put out an ad this week for their new Patty Melt Whoppers.
Yep.
It's two burgers, Whopper style, with two buns of Texas toast style bread, and then caramelized onions in some sauce or something. It looks phenomenal, okay?
All right, go on.
All right, so the thing about the sandwich, they've got another sandwich that's like, what is it called? The Stacker King. It's a big sandwich. That's like a two-handed sandwich sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, and you'd expect the other sandwiches to be that, because the Whopper is generally pretty big.
Right, it looked like a big sandwich. But anyway, so I ordered it through DoorDash, and we'll come up with some of the other problems with that in a minute. Not anything to do with the company, but just the shortcomings of having to order online. But I ordered the sandwich expecting it to be giant. So I got it about an hour ago, pull it out of the bag, and I shit you not, the sandwich is like the size of the palm of my hand.
Okay.
Like, I'm expecting this big piece of Texas toast with a couple of burgers on it, the nice sauce, and it's like maybe 3 inches across. I was really thrown for a loop. The Texas toast is like 2 inches tall, as Texas toast is. So when it's only 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide, you essentially just have a smushed sphere. And that's what my bun was. It was two smushed spheres with two discs in between made out of meat.
This sounds like they use their normal buns and just stack two buns on top of each other for like the cheeseburgers.
It felt like that. It kind of felt like that. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't tell me that's how it went, and I would go, yeah. But also, if you like showed me a video of them combining two buns into one bun, I'd believe you.
Patent.
That's where we were. So, and then the other problem with ordering online that I hate is when I get drinks from fast food places, I always get them without ice, because if you get a large soda and you put ice in it, then you essentially just got a small soda. But DoorDash doesn't give me the option to do that, so I ended up getting a large soda and got a small soda I'll hate in 10 minutes because it'll taste like water.
Yeah, I mean, they need to step up their game then with their food delivery services and other places, because I guarantee they don't respect the ways of no ice guys. Like
yeah,
yourself.
They disrespect No Ice Gang every day.
Is that gonna be the next T-shirt?
No Ice Gang, perhaps.
Oh,
That's a leak.
Leak.
All right. So here's the update, guys. So we started a website. It'll be done by the time this episode goes live on Friday, which coincidentally is the day after St. Patrick's Day. So if it doesn't go live, you know why. But we went through a whole process of designing and building a website after spending probably 1 or 2 days trying a bunch of other different things, and I'll get into the story in a second. But so the website is going live. There'll be some blog posts from us, our episodes live on the site, so you can watch them straight through that, and then of course a merchandise shop as well, where you can buy t-shirts, sweatshirts, ball caps, stickers, you name it, with our faces on them. So if you're really excited to do that sort of thing in a hopefully non-serial killeristic way, that'll be available for you.
There you go.
Look for that merchandise here in the next couple weeks, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. What an endeavor it's been. 10 episodes already.
I know. In another 8 episodes, you'll be able to take us to Pound Town.
Oh, gosh.
Can I say that on live at television? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think we'll be getting any interviews anytime soon.
Probably not. All right. Should I get into the story of this website thing?
Yeah, let's hear about this, your website endeavors.
All right. Let me take a sip of the Coke here.
Okay. Is it pretty watery?
Oh, it's terrible. All right. Here we go. So, we do our website hosting through Anchor, which is a Spotify provided service, and they do all kinds of little things like push your podcast out to different stuff. It's all fine and dandy. But was it Monday? We'll go with Monday. So Monday on the dashboard for Anchor, I was looking at some of the metrics for the show, and a little button popped up that said connect your podcast to WordPress. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So they made a little plugin that makes you a WordPress site, and it pumps out all of your episodes as blog posts, which is not what our current site will do. But it's a neat little thing. So I signed up for it, and I went into the WordPress, and I tried to design the site. Let me tell you, designing WordPress is quite possibly the closest experience I've ever had to shaving off all of my skin with a butter knife.
Okay,
It's really rough.
The butter knife, or
both.
okay.
It's not a good time. So for those of you who don't remember from our first episode, I come from a programming background. I'm not a web designer, but I do have some web design experience regardless of that situation. So I was trying to figure out how to do the layout in WordPress, and it's just all a giant headache. So I eventually got frustrated enough with it that I canceled WordPress and was like, screw it, I'll go try something else. So when I started doing the website, I bought a domain through GoDaddy, and GoDaddy has a website builder. So I was like, okay, I'll just go try that one. Okay. And it was essentially the same thing, except they wanted me to pay $15 a month in typical GoDaddy fashion. So we scratched that, and I eventually just got frustrated enough that I killed all of the web projects I had available, and I just started building one from scratch on my computer. I banged out the code in like, I don't know, 20 minutes for like the initial what I wanted on every page. Not designed, of course, but I threw it out there, and I was texting my girlfriend at the time, who luckily is a web designer. Well, she's a graphics designer, but she has web design experience. So she was trying to help me, but I'm apparently not very fun to work with when I'm extremely hyper-focused and frustrated. So there was a little bit of frustration cast towards me from her, but it's okay, I understand. But we eventually knocked it out and got some layouts going and made it look nice. But holy smokes, I've never done a complete 180 on a project before like that, and it was insane.
Yeah, you turned that around really quick. And actually, she's who designed our profile picture on YouTube. I don't remember if we talked about that before.
Yep, the profile picture and the banner on YouTube is she designed both of those, and she'll also be designing some of the t-shirt designs that you'll see on the site in the coming months.
Sick! Well, I can't wait to see them.
You know, why have business partners when they can just be your regular partners?
There you go.
A tip for all of you out there, just marry somebody with a skill that's applicable, okay? It's way easier than marrying like a fry cook. Well, I guess that's applicable too. Yeah, just marry somebody who can do something useful.
I mean, I think everybody has some use. You got an example to counter me? Come on, say
it. Balloon artists.
Balloon artists?
Yeah.
Like the people that make balloon animals?
Yeah. All right. So we gotta talk.
All right, let's talk.
I gotta be frank. I've had a lot of struggle getting up for work this week.
Okay.
Because daylight savings time.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't ever tell you whether daylight savings time is on or off. I don't know which period is like, yeah, we're saving daylight now, because I never feel like we have any. But I have an internal clock, you know, in my body. I don't ever set an alarm or anything. I just naturally wake up at about 7 a.m.
Right.
So now that's 8 a.m.
It is indeed. Right when you need to be at work.
Right, when I gotta be at work. So I've been waking up at like 10 minutes to when I gotta clock in. Just kind of throwing pants on and falling out the door, flopping in the truck, and then, you know, speeding at 120 miles an hour down inner city roads to get to work.
Can Bruce go 120?
No.
Oh, okay. 120 kilometers, maybe.
It's been a rough week for him, too.
120 Europeans?
We've been going 119, and I've been watching the Pistons fly through the bolt. Or the... What did I say, bolt? My brain was putting bolt through metal, but...
Daylight savings.
I got there eventually. Yeah, daylight savings, blame it on everything. So, so this thing going on in Washington, does that mean we're going to be always daylight savings or never daylight savings?
I kind of hope that they say always, because that gives me more time to work on shitty car after work.
Well, you can work on shitty car without light outside.
Well, you can. I don't want to, because it's easier to do when there's light.
Well, I guess my big question is, so they're putting this law into effect, right? It went through the House, and now it's going to the Senate, or
Yep.
maybe it went through the Senate, and it's going to Biden, one of the two.
Oh.
But if it turns daylight savings time off, are we on daylight savings time? Does that mean they're gonna flip us? Like we've been in this time zone for a week, and now we got to go back? Because that would be fun.
I hope not. I mean, I kind of like it. I kind of like it how it is right now. Now, granted, I'm still adjusting to my new sleep schedule as well, but I've got cruddy 50-cent energy drinks to wake me up at work. And it's
Okay,
not
those are not good, by the way. Those are terrible.
I know they're terrible, but I've actually realized it today. I had an epiphany, and it is not the actual caffeine in the drink that wakes me up. It's the horrible taste, because after I took one sip and I was like, ugh, this is gross, I was actually awake. And then I drank the rest of the can and thought about my life decisions.
So you drink that for the same reason I drank coffee for a year, and the only difference is you don't shit your pants afterwards?
Yeah, and I don't drink coffee either.
That's not a bad deal. Yeah, I used to drink coffee religiously for like a year when I was working at that repair shop.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem was, so I'd get into work at about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then I'd have a cup of coffee through my morning phone calls, and then have another cup of coffee when I was done. So I'd have 2 cups of coffee by about 10 o'clock, and then immediately have to spend a half hour in the bathroom as my insides became my outsides repeatedly. I don't know what it is about coffee, dude. Yeah, coffee just shreds me. Like, my inside just everywhere.
Are you sure they didn't just lace your coffee with something?
It's very possible the other people at the shop laced the coffee with X-Lax. I don't know, but I'm too scared to try it now, dude. I've been traumatized by the butthole.
That's fair. I was gonna say, because I never saw you use the Keurig that we had in our college apartment.
I did every once in a while, but in college I had the problem of putting alcohol in the coffee before I went to class.
Well, I suppose that's okay.
Look, you try to sit through a 3-hour lecture on databases and tell me you don't need a drink, okay?
Listen, man, I saw your instructors, and I agree. You would need a little bit.
It's a rough time, okay? Database layouts are bad.
Very.
And this is the story of how I became an alcoholic.
And a programmer.
You're probably wondering how I got here.
The programming or the alcoholism?
Both.
Fair enough.
They're kind of hand in hand, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's a single programmer out there that isn't a heavy drinker.
Comes along with it. I actually came by a post with you with long hair in my my recents, or not recents, but memories.
Oh, on Snap?
Yeah. I'll have to send it to you.
When was that?
Oh, it was a while ago.
When did I last have long hair? That's the real question.
Like 2018.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have. I don't know if I ever really had like, quote, long hair. Like, it was never like shoulder length or anything.
Right.
But
Well, longer.
Yeah, I've been shaggy a couple times.
Yeah, like I am now, because I just haven't gotten a haircut.
Yeah, but your shaggy is way different than mine, because my hair just falls like off my head. Not that I'm gonna be bald. Don't say that, but.
Might need to. Does your girlfriend know?
I'm not balding. Okay.
okay. Denial's the first step. You gotta accept it.
No, if I never stop denying, it never goes to step 2.
Okay.
But my hair is very straight, so when I comb it or whatever, it kind of just goes the direction it's supposed to go. You have curly bird's nest hair, so when your hair gets long, you just become a different ethnicity for a little bit.
What ethnicity am I now? I'm curious.
Somewhere in the Eurasian market in the 70s.
I think of
don't
every
know.
70s hairstyle. Nobody cut their hair in the 70s.
Yeah, I had a joke like forming and I didn't get there. I don't know what the
Aw,
punchline was supposed to be, but I tried. So
dude.
is that a good spot to end the first half? I don't know.
I guess so. Did you have anything you wanted to add to daylight savings? It's in the Senate. We might get more light. We might not.
Either way, I'm taking a nap at 6.
Fair enough.
I'm old now. My hair's falling out.
Yeah, you're balding.
All right, let's jump to an ad break, and we'll see y'all in just a little bit.
See you guys then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Slim and Slam podcast. This episode is brought to you by us. We've got a promotion running on our Twitter. When our Twitter account reaches 50 followers, we'll be giving away this ad spot to a lucky follower of said account. If you're not following us on Twitter and want to be part of that giveaway, go ahead and pull up your browser, go to www.twitter.com/slimnslampod. Go ahead and follow us there, and you'll be entered into the giveaway as soon as we hit 50. All right, I think that's all the advertisement, Slam. Let's get right back to the show. All right, everybody, thanks for listening to that ad for us, and welcome back from the break. Slam, it's the springtime.
It is indeed spring, finally. Felt like it was winter forever.
I know. Well, of course, now that we say that, it'll snow next week. But besides that, it's springtime.
It is.
And living in rural town USA, like small town USA, part of spring is that the gravel roads open back up for business. They're not quite as treacherous to drive down. So I thought maybe what we could do is we could tell a couple stories and a couple of the rules about living around gravel town, like gravel road, small town USA.
Gravel Town, USA?
Gravel town USA. Yeah,
No
our
t-shirt.
biggest export, you wouldn't believe it. It's
Is-
pepper.
Oh, I thought you were going to say gravel.
I thought about it, but I threw you for the loop. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there.
So Slam and I have grown up around small towns with gravel roads going every which way for most of our lives.
Yeah.
As we get to spring, there's a couple things you need to know. First thing, if you live in the middle of nowhere, there's probably deer.
Yeah, those do exist around here in the Midwest.
Yeah. So one of the things you need to know when a deer runs out into the road, if you hit it and don't tell anybody, you can hang it in your garage, skin it, and make it into venison jerky.
Okay, I was not expecting that, but yes, I suppose you could. You might. I mean, I guess it depends on how your vehicle's covered. Because I hit one, and it destroyed my vehicle, and somehow didn't total it.
You didn't hit it hard enough, apparently.
I mean, it shoved the. I'm surprised it didn't bend the frame, but it shoved the fender into the passenger door.
That's not a total. No way. The car still runs, probably.
All right, I'll show you a picture of it after the podcast.
Sure. All right, so that's rule number 1, and the only exception to that rule is if your neighbor is the sheriff. Then you have to do it under the cover of nightfall.
We're intentionally looking for deer. This is how we've been hunting for years.
Right, you don't need a license if you have a driver's license. It counts as a tag.
I suppose in some sense you are correct.
All right, rule number 2 of the gravel roads. Technically, the speed limit is 55 plus.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say higher, but yes, 55 plus is a safe number to be at.
Right, there's an open end to that speed limit. It's not a bottom, it's not 55 and below, it's 55 is the low end of the speed limit. And then beyond that.
And that's actually something, because back at home, this is after I moved up here, maybe like a year and a half after. So after I moved in with you, the sheriff that normally was around our area back at home had retired, and then a new one came in, and he would patrol the gravel roads. The other one didn't, because what are you going to find on a gravel road? Nothing. That's what.
Right.
And he would patrol them, and gravel roads aren't exactly the width of a normal road. They're pretty narrow most of the time.
Yep.
So what I'm getting at is essentially it's common to drive closer to the middle of the road, if not in the middle of the road, unless, of course, there is a big frickin' vehicle coming at you, or a small one. But he would pull you over and give you a ticket if you were driving in the middle of a gravel road. No
That's
joke.
just looking for a fight.
No kidding. Like, he was everybody's worst cop, sheriff, whatever you want to call him. Ticket man.
The ticket man. Come to give you a ticket, have I?
Okay, Green Goblin coming back.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, it's just stupid. I just wanted to rant there a little bit, but
No, it's okay. It's okay. We all have our frustrations with the popo at some point or another.
this is true. Do you want to talk
Speaking of-
about those?
Well, speaking of patrolling the streets, I was gonna say that brings me to number 3. When you are driving at night and you see a car on the side of the road, this being the gravel road, you do not treat it the same as you would on a paved road. You see a car on the side of the road. During a paved road, you might stop, pull over, and see if they need any assistance, right?
Yeah.
If you see that on the side of a gravel road, you drive past. Otherwise, you might find out. Oh, dang, I want to start this bit over. It was going to be so much funnier, and I blew it. All right. You might, you might discover a couple of 16-year-olds finding out what their bodies do when they're excited.
Oh God.
Is what I'm trying to say. Look, you live in small rural USA. You know, there's not a hotel to take your girl to when you're in high school. All right. We're going to expose a fact of life here, okay?
All right.
Schoolers do have sex.
Yes, this is a well-known fact at this point. If your parents say anything different, they are ignorant.
Probably more so in rural towns than cities, because there's not a whole lot else to do. And one of the things you do in high school in a rural town is you take your girl out to the middle of the fucking nowhere, and you just make out until it eventually gets, you know, heavier than that, okay? But if you see a car on the side of the road, a gravel road, and it's like dark outside, don't knock, okay? Let them figure this shit out. Let them go through their puberty crap. They'll figure it out. I promise they don't need your help.
You're absolutely right. What a
Does it
bit
sound-
this was.
Does it sound like I'm talking from experience? I swear I don't know anything what you're talking about, officer.
Do you wanna go into this story then?
No, sometimes you find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time, and sometimes that wrong place is in the middle of fucking nowhere outside of a small town.
I agree.
And there just happens to be highway patrolmen taking a dirt road home and check and see what's going on, and you just happen to not have pants on.
Just happened to not have pants. I don't know what happened to my
Look,
pants.
man, I
Officer.
don't know where I went. They're somewhere in the car. It could be anybody's fault, you know?
They're hanging outside the window. They're just drying.
Yeah, I was SOS flag, you know?
Well, that's why it stopped.
Shit, I didn't even think about that.
It's because your briefs are blowing off the antenna. What a time.
So that's rule number 3. Leave cars alone when you see them on the side of the road. They're there for a reason.
Absolutely.
Rule number 4. If the road is flooded, put a sign up before the flood part. Are you ready for the Ballad of Bruce?
I already know of the Ballad of Bruce, but I think everybody's ready to finally hear the story of the Bruce.
All right, so my truck is a 2002 4-liter Ford Ranger. All right, built like a tank. They're indestructible. Awesome. Okay, I bought it in high school for about $3,000 because I had to pull a hot dog cart that I had purchased to sell hot dogs in the summer. All right.
Back when you could buy a vehicle for $3,000, but
Yeah, good luck buying a bicycle for $3,000 these days. But anyway, so I drove that through high school. I went up to college about an hour away, and then I would come home on the weekends to hang out with my high school buddies. And we would go party out at my friend Aaron's house out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Aaron lived on a lake, and the lake would flood in the spring occasionally. Not very often, but it would flood over the road every once in a while, okay? And normally they would mark that on the turn off of the highway to the gravel road. They would say flood. So you'd know to take the opposite way to that, like, country block of houses, okay?
right. Yep.
So I came home one spring after, it hadn't been a lot of rain, to be completely honest with you. I think we had one rainstorm at the beginning of that week, and I came on the weekend.
Okay.
But at the time, my truck did not have a name, okay? Just to put it out there, it was just a regular old Ranger at the time. So I'm headed down the highway. I turn off the gravel road, and it's about 5-6 miles to Aaron's house, and I'm going probably 70-80 miles an hour down this gravel road. Now, this gravel road has a bunch of hills up and down, and at the valley of two of those hills is where the lake is on both sides of the road, right?
Yep.
So I get up the crest of the first hill. I'm going about 80 miles an hour, and there was no indication that flooding had occurred anywhere on the road. Nobody had put up a sign or anything, which typically somebody does. So I get at the top of the hill, and at the bottom of the hill, I'm treated with a couple of things to, coat my eyeballs with, okay?
Okay.
The first thing is that the water is definitely on the road by a lot.
By a lot, how much would you say?
There was probably about 10 feet, like width-wise, of water at least. It might have been 20, somewhere in that range of 10 to 20 feet.
But a decent amount.
Yeah, it was definitely a couple feet deep,
Okay.
maybe 2. All right, so very decent coverage of the road with water. The other thing I saw was about 6 bars of 2-inch rebar pounded into the ground at the bottom of that hill.
Oh, jeez.
For those of you who don't know, that will kill you if it goes through the windshield. By a lot. Like, you'll be very, very dead.
Unless you end up on a TV show and they have the rebar just sticking out of you.
Right. Well, that's probably be what would happen. You'd be impaled.
Skewered.
Yes, exactly. Nice little shish kebab on a Sunday afternoon. So anyway, I'm coming down this hill, about 80 miles an hour, about 30 feet in front of me. There's rebar, and I'm on gravel, so the stop time is way longer than that, okay?
Right.
So my options are, A, hit the rebar, hope I don't die. Will probably save my truck. Option B, try to go on the shoulder, get back into the road after the rebar, and hope that I can drive through 2 feet of water, which granted my truck probably can, okay?
Yep.
So I take option B because that's the one where I probably don't die.
Fair enough.
So
Good option.
I pump the brakes a little bit. I get down to about 55, 60 miles an hour because I still want enough speed to get through this water. And I turn off into the shoulder, and the whole shoulder just gives out underneath me.
Oh,
So-
yeah, it's probably soft.
Yeah, it was soft, and all the dirt just like straight into the lake. Okay. Now I don't know about you, but if you've ever been in a vehicle where suddenly one side of your vehicle no longer has anything to sit on, your vehicle will turn sideways.
that do make sense.
So I did a pretty quick 90-degree turn on an axis the vehicle is not supposed to turn, and had a passenger side window into the water pretty fast.
That sounds about right.
Now, at the speed the truck was sinking, I figured I had about 3 minutes to figure out how to get the truck out of the water before I no longer had a truck, okay?
Yep.
So I rolled down my driver's side window, and I climb out the top, and I slog through the water, and I'm about a half mile from Aaron's house at this point. So I sprint that in like soaked wet clothes with a sinking truck behind me to go get to his house. I've never been more frustrated with the length of a driveway before in my life, but if that one could have been any shorter, I would have taken it. So I come speeding up the driveway. I'm waving my hands. I'm going, hey! And everybody's like waving at me because they're expecting me. They're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, no, my truck's in the water. So we all saddle up in Hudson's truck, and we fly down. Hudson's another one of my buddies, but we all saddle up in Hudson's truck, and we fly down the road. And we get the tow rope, and we pull the truck out of the water, and it just shedding water everywhere. Right at this point, the truck had been almost entirely submerged. So, the whole engine bay had water in it, had water in the intake. Luckily, I was able to shut the truck off before it hit the water, so it didn't, like, ingest any through the intake. But
that's good.
There was definitely water everywhere, okay? And we were able to pull it out. And the funniest thing about the whole ordeal is when I pulled it out, about 6 carp were stuck in the bed of the truck.
No way.
So I caught fish. It wasn't the intention of the trip, but I did go fishing, and I did succeed.
So Bruce is both a submersible and a fishing boat.
Yes, which is why my truck got its name Bruce, because fish are friends, not food. We have to teach Bruce to not jump into the water to eat the fish.
That's sick, because I honestly haven't heard the part about Bruce catching fish, and I didn't know that's where the name came from, to be truthful.
Yep.
So that's sick to know.
There's a picture on my cloud somewhere of all the fish laying on the outside of the truck, and that was right when Endgame was coming out. So that meme of what did it cost with Thanos was going around. So we made the meme of, did you catch the fish? Yes. What did it cost? My truck. Anyway, so
that's sick.
We got the truck rolled back up to the house, and I did a quick oil change there without a filter, and it actually took 2 or 3 oil changes because the oil coming out was like chocolate milkshake colored.
Oh yeah, so it did get a little bit of stuff in there.
It was very watery. So I think I did 3 5-quart bottles of oil through it.
Oh dang.
before the oil came out to a different color, and then dried it all off, changed spark plugs, got it back into town, and had to take it to the shop to go over all the electricals. And lo and behold, I can still drive it today.
Well, yeah, Bruce is a trooper. And that's
Yeah, I
why,
know.
You buy a Ford Ranger.
A Danger Ranger, dude, to keep you out of trouble. So
Absolutely.
that's my truck adventure, and just like that, it looks like we're out of time.
It does look that we are out of time. So thank
Alright.
you.
Go ahead, you do
Oh.
it. You close the show.
Sick! I gotta close the show this time. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I've been Slam here with Slim and Bruce in spirit, even though he's right outside. Did I do it?
I think you did it. All right, we'll see y'all next week.
See you guys then.